Disclaimer: all the materials and examples used in this video are only for educational purpose. Hacking or attempting to hack anything without permission is illegal. Hey guys, Venki here. Hope you all doing good. Welcome back to another video of my how to hack series. Today I'm going to show you how to hack Linux server using SQL injection methods, and also I'm going to show you how we can prevent these SQL injections. I have already set up a virtual machine and hosted a vulnerable web application, which what we are seeing on the screen now. I'm going to target this web application and exploit using SQL injection. Before we jump into an attack, first we need to gather information about the web application server. So let me try to use Nmap scanner. As we started provide the web application server IP address. Generally, try to get all available information to identify vulnerability on the application or server. Here we go. We got the result already. We can see application server is open with port number 21, which is nothing but FTP port that is open, and also we can see port number 22 is open, that is SSH port number. And one good information is this application is running on Ubuntu OS. Also we can see application is running on Apache server, Apache HTTPD 2.2.8 version, so we can target any exploit based on the version number. Plus we can also see database name. So MySQL 5.0 is the database used by this application. So right now we got some good information about the web application and the server. Let's try to explore on the SQL injection, because application is using MySQL database. Let's try to explore on the SQL injection. If you want to learn more about SQL injection, what it is and how it works, watch this video. So now I came into a web page where I want to perform some search operation so that I can try to identify whether this application is vulnerable to SQL injection. Wherever you see you are passing a parameter along with the URL, try to pass a single quote along with the URL parameters. If web application throws any error, which means application is vulnerable to SQL injection. So here we got the error, which means this application is highly vulnerable to SQL injection. We can try to add many more SQL statements along with the URL parameter and see whether it is returning any result. I have captured a detailed information about SQL injection in this video. Please watch this as well. So in this example, along with the search parameter, I am able to pass order based SQL statement and I'm able to successfully complete. So in this way, just keep increasing the order by column number from 1 to as many as you want until you see the error message. What does that mean is we are injecting SQL statements. When you set order by 1, which means the result will be ordered by column number 1. When you keep increasing it, it will sort out based on the available column numbers. By any chance, if you get an error message for any column number, that means that column is not available in the database. So we can identify number of available columns from this table. In this example here, I'm getting error message for order by column number 8 and order by column number 9, which means only 7 columns are available for this search operation. This gives a next opportunity for an attacker to execute union of select statement. So what I'm trying is union select 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, limiting with the number of available columns. It will return just the number and it will display on the screen. Here we go. We are able to see the select statement result on the screen, which is nothing but simple numbers. What we can do next is we can try to replace these numbers with other SQL statement, like we can get the database version, we can get the database username, we can get available table names from the database and so on. So right now I'm replacing column 2 with the version. Here we go. We are able to see the exact database version. Already we got it from nmap result, but anyway I'm just validating whether a SQL injection is working properly or not. Likewise, we can replace the next column number, that is 3. I'm trying to get the current user details, what this application is using to connect with the database. Here you see it is using root user, which means this application is connecting to database with root user. This is really bad. This web application is using a root permission to connect with the database, which means if anyone exploit this web application, they can do anything to the database, to the server as well. Similarly, I'm going to replace column number 4 and 5 to get a database name as well as the current timestamp. Likewise, you can replace this with any other SQL commands to get the result which can be printed on the web page. So don't worry guys, I will provide all these SQL injection URL parameters in the video description for your reference. So now we got a catchy point here. We already knew that this application is hosted on Ubuntu OS, as well as this application having a root permission, which clearly means that we would be able to access the password and shadow file from the server. So what I tried here is I replaced the column number 4 with a SQL command load file, and then I try to access password file from etc directory. Wow, we are able to see password file from the web application server. This is really bad because application is using a root user to connect to the database, and we exploited that root user. Hence, this critical information is visible to us. Let me store this password information into a file so that we can use John the Ripper tool to crack the password. Similarly, I am trying to access shadow file. Generally, password file will hold user information and shadow file will hold encrypted passwords in any Linux environment. If an attacker got access to these two files, they can easily crack password and get into Linux server. So I have captured password information and shadow information using SQL injection method. I will show you how we can perform password cracking. I'm going to use John the Ripper tool to crack the password. I have already published a few videos about John the Ripper tool. If you want to learn more about this tool, start with this video. So now I'm opening a terminal in my Kali Linux machine, and I need to navigate to the folder where I stored this password and shadow file. Then I'm going to use unshadow command. This is very simple. This unshadow command will merge password file and shadow file together, and it will create a single file which is holding user information and encrypted password together. This unshadowed file can be used for John the Ripper tool. Then we can use John the Ripper tool, use John command and pause this unshadowed file. So I'm going to use the default password list which comes with the John the Ripper tool. We can see session already completed because I already cracked this password. Hence this tool is not trying to crack the password for us one more time. What we can do in this scenario, we can use a show command. Just use John the Ripper tool and then use ---- show. It will display previously cracked password. Here we see John the Ripper tool already cracked the password for root user. Password for the root user is nothing but bug. Let's try to connect to this server using root user and see whether it is working or not. So now let me try to do a SSH session to the target server with the root user ID and provide this password. Bingo, we are able to log in into the server, which means we successfully performed a SQL injection attack. What we have done so far is we performed a SQL injection attack and we took a complete control of this Linux server. This is how an attacker can get into a Linux server by performing SQL injection. After getting in, they will be having root permission. They can do anything. They can bring down the server, they can restart the server, they can change the configuration of the server, they can do anything they want. So generally, how we can prevent this type of SQL injection? Generally, when we build any web application, we can consider four types of primary defenses. First one is we can use prepared statement, and then try to use stored procedures. We can have a whitelisting of inputs, and then escaping of any malicious characters. Prepared statements are simple. Instead of binding user input directly into the SQL query, we can bind that into a prepared statement so that it will be safe to be executed against a database. Next one is stored procedures. Create as many stored procedures as you want and pass the input into the stored procedures. Third one is creating a whitelist of all the inputs what we receive it from end user. Generally, you can use a switch case logic, or keep whitelisted variables which can be considered as a safe input to be executed against a database. Last one is escaping all user supplied inputs. Keep this as the last option because this is more of a database specific. If you are using MySQL or Oracle or any other databases, this escaping logic will change accordingly. So keep this as the last option and try to achieve your prevention from the previous three methods itself. As an additional defense, we can try to create a least privilege to the web application which is trying to connect to the database. Do not provide a root permission to the user which is used by the web application to connect to the database. That's all for today, guys. Hope this demonstration helps. We'll meet you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.